You ever notice how big moments in geopolitics arrive like fireworks, loud, bright, and blinding? And after the oohs and ahs, everyone discovers their fingers are burnt. That's where we are. A war in Gaza, a flustered America, a restive Israel, and suddenly the map of influence starts twitching. Arab capitals are flexing. Pakistan is put on the stage. Cameras flick. Politicians breathe heavier. And between the applause and the after party, no one is asking the most important and useful question: who pays after the hangover? Or for the hangover? Welcome to Fourth Floor Post English, weekly dosage of Pakistani politics. Let's be blunt. What's happening right now looks sexier on TV than it does in policy papers. Saudis float talk of protection, umbrella clauses, Egypt whispered proposal. Somehow it was wiped out. And Pakistan's task force ideas were the talk of the town. And then suddenly, after a day, Pakistan overnight was being congratulated like a wedding guest who turned up with gifts no one expected. A game changer, they say. Seems like breathing space, others hope for the system. Maybe, but fashionably timed optics does not necessarily mean strategy. They sometimes means press releases. First, let's read the room. America is not the same landlord it was. Its grip is loosening in multiple theaters: Middle East, South Asia, even parts of Asia Pacific. That vacuum invites this theater. Saudi's money plus Pakistan's military credibility plus Chinese hardware. On paper, this seems like a very tidy narrative: money, manpower, and weapons. But in practice, international math rarely works that way. If this pact is merely a signal to scare Washington, then terrific, scare them. But signals do not translate easily into durable deterrence. Signals can be picked up, they can be ignored, or they can be misread or weaponized against you. The only silver lining right now is that America is stuck. India is not bowing, although Trump is trying hard to squeeze India. This new H-1B visa fees is almost indirect ban on Indians. But Israel and India are getting close. Now that's a different story. And they are acting on their own. That's how they seem. America, that's why, is looking for the space in Afghanistan again, losing all hopes from anywhere else. But will it be easy? No way. That's the silver lining for Pakistan right now. And that's the leverage for Pakistani system in place. But here's the central contradiction. Pakistan's public image just rose fast. But the machinery that must sustain such a new role at home politically is very fragile. Our political system is running on fumes, bargains, legal theaters, desperate calculations. When you combine bold foreign optics with domestic fragility, you don't get strength. You get leverage for someone else to pull it, or someone else to pull when it suits them. What I mean is, it gives leverage for establishment to take over. Consider the simple question. If Saudi umbrella means attack on one is the attack on other, why would Washington tolerate it? Because it simply means a route to China if Washington accepts it. So if Washington tolerates it or ignores it due to its own weakness, why would Israel remain calm? And if Israel reacts, will Pakistan be dragged into theater for which Pakistan is neither politically ready nor economically prepped to survive? Doesn't that seem like a trap if it materializes? This is not a hypothetical. This is the real test of whether these arrangements are lines on the map or a promise someone can keep when push comes to shove. Worse, the bargains that produce optics often end with the personal wins in Pakistan. That's the worst situation for us. Who benefits from this? We may ask in Pakistan. In many of these moves you watched, there were faces of this system. Leaders trying to stay relevant, who are due retire. Establishment consolidating influence. Before November, a systematic or system scrambling for the breathing space because of no relevance in the international fronts. Now, if the bargain helps in surviving through November, we all know that this leverage of Middle East politics could come handy for only few people in Pakistan. Only few. Obviously, I mean establishment. Because survival wears many disguises. NFC tweaks, constitutional tweaks, other legal pressures, talk of 27th Amendment or legal frameworks to create new post powers, heckling with the provinces. These all things are not academic detail anymore. They will all become reality after November. So if optics and leverage work beyond November, but the system in place will not be the same. The civilian system may not survive till then because of the plans ahead. It is how temporary foreign bolstering can be wired into permanent domestic advantage. That's where the danger lives, which most people cannot see and most cannot ignore. Let's talk about the internal theatre for a second. The judiciary is being played as a piece on the chessboard. Transfers, suspensions, hearings targeted. The noise around the courts is no longer about justice. It's about control. It's about weakness in power. And the jewel of the eye, Justice Dogar, is under fire. But will it work if bar councils fight like this they are fighting right now? And when judges become variables instead of institutions, stability obviously becomes a slogan. Instability. You don't fix insecurity by muzzling institutions, you amplify it. But we never learn. So we are watching the same spectacle again. Benches reshuffles, harassment cases are being thrown out, sudden administrative moves. The message is unmistakable. Shape the courts, shape the narrative. But since weakness in the system has left its stink, nobody will rest. 5 judges from the same Islamabad High Court has moved to Supreme Court against the Chief Justice. So again, this never stops and we never learn. Then there is Imran Khan. The man is simultaneously weakened and irrepressible in the calculation of survival politics. You can jail a leader, tarnish their image, manufacture cases, but resilience isn't just legal, it's social. And where the public sentiment exists, it will find a voice one way or the other. The system's tools to neutralize him might buy time. They might also galvanize a different kind of opposition that is messier to control. So it's all a gamble. And it all depends on repercussions and how the information is flowing in these months. So beyond domestic theatre, the regional web is messy already. You see, Iran, Turkey, China, Russia, India all have their own scorecards and vulnerabilities. Aligning too closely with one bloc without hedging invites strategic dependency. If you move closer to one actor for shelter, in case of US or in case of China, you increase your exposures to others. This is how the Saudi Pact will work out. You see, Afghanistan, KPK, Iran, Balochistan, the border dynamics, they are not controlled variables. They are kinetic risks. So, if America recalibrates towards India or tries to assert influence via any other card, the Pakistan's newfound relevance in the Gulf may not translate into diplomatic immunity. It may translate into being a pawn. It doesn't matter who is sitting on the throne. And the moves we made will be paid for the other one, the next one. And the economy, we cannot blink at the terms. Money is not free gift. Promises of funds, development packages, or the security support come with the conditions. Political, economic, and strategic. if those funds shore up a political class that is already tempted by the tinker the constitutions, provincial bargains, and mineral deals through back channels, then obviously the net gain for the country will become negative. So what are the realistic outcomes here? One, the pact remains optical, only optics, dramatic headlines and no meaningful structural shift. Two, if it buys breathing space, a short window where the system avoids collapse but fails to use the time for real reforms and then collapse. Or three, it becomes leverage for the consolidation. Constitutional changes, reduced provincial powers, a domestic bargain that favors only Ajanta. I'm pessimistic about the third option, and I should be, because history shows that the fast domestic consolidations under the external cover rarely ends well for anybody, especially for those in power. Finally, let's not romanticize nuclear umbrellas or military expertise as a quick fixes. Military tries do not substitute for sound governance, economic resilience, or a political settlement that has legitimacy at home can only do that. You can get protected umbrellas with these pacts. You cannot buy popular consent. I'm not saying the moment is useless. There's a possibility here, a big possibility here, a window to get a breathing room, to restructure foreign relations, to diversify partnership beyond a single patron. But breathing space becomes a trap if the domestic bargain is the same old politics packaged with the new foreign logos. So the conclusion is simple and uncomfortable. Yes, the region is shifting. Yes, Pakistan has been ended in spotlight. But spotlights highlight flaws as well as achievements. If we want this moment to be a turning point for the country, the priority must be resilience at home. And that's only one person. That's only one party right now. You see, institutional strength, economic planning, provincial equity, and the politics that doesn't survive by eroding the pillars that keep the system stable.